Anderson County. This is Councilman Brett Sanders recapping May the 2nd, 2023's council meeting. Short meeting tonight. We had third reading on a right-of-way easement or grant to the city on some sewer that they're doing. I think it was on Mildred Road, and it's approximately 18-foot permanent easement and 15-foot temporary easement. So it is to straighten out some lines that's already there and possibly run new lines. Also tonight we had second reading on Major Road up in the Piedmont-Powdersville area to reduce truck traffic on it. And basically it is between Wren School Road and 88. I mean, there are some things coming through. There's a lot of schools there. Number one, there's a lot of school traffic on it, and our Roads and Bridges Department went out, and it was mainly closed for safety reasons and for closed through truck traffic. And I think a lot of the trucks and things, the internet or your GPS shows you the shortest way, and it's kind of a cut through to get across. So hopefully that will improve the safety up there in that area. Tonight we also had a second reading on the clear bag policy. Again, that was a safety concern, like in county facilities, county buildings. It was more, I think the Sheriff's Department had requested that. It makes things a little simpler and easier on them. And I'm glad to assist the Sheriff's Department, and I'm glad to do anything that promotes increased safety for not only county employees, but for the citizens as well. First reading tonight was a ISI change. I think it was 19.1 acres up off of Highway 76 right there at Arthrex. And it had come before council before and was approved. I think they're doing some apartments up there. And now they have access to sewer, and they increased the number of apartments. I think they increased the green space as well. So they're allowed to utilize the sewer access now and can increase the number of units. I did follow up with the Planning Commission, and they said that no one had showed up in opposition or for the project. So on first reading, on first reading, so that'll move forward on to second and third reading. Also tonight, we had an ordinance to pass the budget in title only. And basically, as you know, I'm the chairman of the Finance Committee, and I made a list of bullet points to share with council, and I'll be happy to share them with you guys. The total budget proposed for all funds was $277 million and some change, almost $278 million. The general fund was $114.6 million. We have $15 million in uses of balance or general fund balance. That's what that is the reserve that we have in our ordinance. Normally we like to have between 3 to 6 months reserve. So basically that was the $15 million there. $37 million of the total budget was increased due to funds coming from federal grants and state grants. So that was a large increase. We had 31 positions requested. I think 3 were recommended by our administrator, and that was 1 in the Parks Department and 2 in Roads and Bridges. Also, our EMS department, our first responders, our paramedics actually are under the county now, so basically we just switched them under the general fund, so to speak, like normal county employees. I don't think it had gotten changed over the past budget, so this is the first year of that. That got moved over. We also provided funding for the Sheriff's Department for their pay plan that they have in place, so that will allow them to continue to cover cost of living. It also allow them to remain competitive with other counties, and helps retention rate, and also helps in recruitment of officers. And finally, I think the biggest part right now in first reading, there was no tax increase. And again, we'll have probably a lot more budget finance meetings coming up. there are some areas that we saw, or I have seen, that there are room for some changes that will actually just, I think it's more of a structural deal in some of the departments, or one of the departments that I saw that would create a savings that would offset the things that they had requested for in the budget. So basically, hey, we can do this, save this money, and that will allow you, I think it was body cameras, allowed them to have body cameras, plus it would allow for the possibility of this particular department has no stair step in wages or salaries. So basically, you know, you can come in and as a entry-level position with the basic skill set or the basic certifications, and be start out or be making the same thing as someone with every certification and qualification that is possibly out there. So I think for a morale standpoint within the department, also retention of your senior people and more skilled people that can actually share experience and expertise with the others, I think that stair-step program or pay scale, so to speak, will help us to solidify that. And basically, it was planned and set up to do it that way, and it just it hasn't really. We haven't really followed through with it, and I think this year with the budget, I think it's a time to really reflect and look on that. And plus on other departments, I did meet with every department head or sent out the invitation, anyone that wanted to come in and sit down with me one-on-one and just talk in general. I find that very interesting. Not only it's a learning experience for me, it also allows the department head to sell you on their budget. You know, a lot of times, you know, you're looking at a bunch of numbers and you look at last year and this year's and you go, oh, there's a huge increase here, or you know, there's a huge increase. Well, a lot of times that huge increase, if you don't get into the details, you don't realize it. Oh, we can cut some money here. Well, basically that huge increase was, you know, a new position that we had to have. It could be insurance, benefits. There's a whole lot of things. When you're looking at an overall total figure, I like to sit down with the department heads and break it down, to go through some of the day-to-day, the expenses and operation costs. And by doing that, you can find ways to tweak things or see ways to combine things to save money. And you know, everyone complains about budget season, but those kind of things get me excited. I like being behind the scenes, sitting down, looking at the numbers, and finding a way to make something possible with what you have. So making the best of what you have.
And you want to kind of encourage looking more long term rather than just year to year too.
Oh yeah, I think and I think you may have been, I think you were in that meeting. There, at one of our last finance committee meeting, there was, you know, we have over $7.1 million of capital projects. And what a capital project is the roof on this courthouse. It's leaking, some wood rotting underneath it. I think that was over $1 million. We have some state buildings, or buildings that the state occupy, DHEC, social services. Those buildings need repairs, and basically there's $7.1 million worth of repairs, and the money's not there to do that and run the county. So I think, sit down with Mr. Richardson, and you know, it's sad to say that, you know, you look at those and I'm like, hey, Mr. Richardson, you know, this is the same thing we were looking at last year, the year before that, the year before that. The only difference is with inflation and the cost of things now, it just continues to rise. So I have made the suggestion, and we're looking into some things. We requested a list of all properties owned by the county. I think I've said it before, Mr. Dunn said it again tonight, you know, the county shouldn't be in the real estate business. I think we get a list of those buildings, we determine what we actually need or are going to need in the future, and the others I think we need to get rid of and start a a capital project fund. There needs to be money put aside, I think, annually, just like a savings account at your house. Set some money aside for that rainy day or that unforeseen problem that arises, and while that it can draw interest in an interest-bearing account, and that money can be and should be specifically for capital projects, roofs, a leak, paint, carpet. It amazes me at the cost of some of this stuff, and you look around and you're thinking $1 million for a roof, but then when you look at the intricacies and the rot and the things behind it, it's a lot different, especially on a historic building. It's not like you can run down to Lowe's and buy some shingles and call your buddy or your neighbor down the street that does it on the side and come up and do it. I mean, it is a massive, major undertaking, and we're seeing it and we're feeling it. So I would like to push for and see us have a plan, a long-term plan. We put Band-Aids on things, and basically, and I'm guilty of trying to, to save money. I don't want to raise taxes, and no one wants their taxes raised. So in order to keep from raising your taxes, something gets a Band-Aid stuck on it. And, I think the Band-Aid situations works in certain areas, but also that Band-Aid is a temporary fix. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over. I mean, that is just to get your head above water or get some breathing room to come up with a plan of action to make something happen and get a project completed and find a way to fund it. So I think that's really my primary focus this year on the budget. Every year on budget time, you get motivated or see different things, and I think that's my main focus right now. Once we get through this budget, is to set up in place a plan, a long-term plan that when I'm out of here and gone, there's still money there, so that that Band-Aid they keep putting, or we keep putting on something. When there's no more Band-Aids left, there is a fund and money set aside to complete or finish a project. And that's I think my goal so far on this budget, and to see it a long-term plan in place. Pretty much sums up, well, we had a change order, not really a change order. We had some funding, state funding that came through for Dolly Cooper Park, which, as you know, I'm sure you've been out there, and those of you that haven't been out there, you need to ride up and see. It's an amazing facility here in Anderson County, right on the Saluda River at the Greenville-Anderson line. I think there was a $342,000 grant for a playground that we received, so we did the change order to actually accept that grant and use it to do the playground up at Dolly Cooper. But also Rhythm on the Rivers this Saturday. I hope it doesn't rain. There'll be concerts, food trucks, a lot of fun for the kids and families. So make sure to put that on your calendar, or at least ride out. It'll be a great day to ride out and actually see what's going on out there, and realize, I think a lot of people don't realize what is actually here in Anderson County, the things that you can see and do, and you need to ride out, take a look, and take the family and enjoy yourself. That pretty much sums up our council meeting tonight, but I would like to recognize Lowell Brannon, and he was the Yamaha Right Waters Bassmaster Kayak champion, or won the fishing tournament out there, and he is a local guy that was on Lake Hartwell the 15th through the 16th of April. So glad to see our local guy go out there and put a whipping up on some of the other people that traveled around. I do.
First time, the kayak with a big fish on the line. All right. Thank you.
We don't know you. Tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, I'm Lowell Brannon from Honey Path.
And you've had a pretty good few weeks recently, haven't you?
I have, yes, sir.
How long have you been kayak fishing?
12 years.
And how long have you been competing?
10 years.
And when you found out they were going to have the Nationals here, or what were you thinking?
I was pretty excited about it, especially being in the spring. That's when the strongest on Hartwell, so it played well for me.
And when you going into the tournament, were you pretty confident you had a really good chance of winning this thing?
Yeah, I knew I could do well, but when you have some top anglers from all over the country, so all of those guys have a shot at winning at any time. So I was confident, but not too confident.
What doors does this open up for you?
It opens up the Classic, which will be next year, followed by the Boat World Classic. I'll fix that, and it opens up a lot of opportunities. Mostly just gives me more confidence that I can compete with the best out there.
And kayak fishing is growing rapidly, right?
It is, yes, sir.
Fast growing sport.
Very fast.
What did you know when you found out the county council was going to honor you? Is that meaningful to you?
It was. I was very honored that Greg Elgin contacted me about coming here, and that you guys support us and recognize all the hard work I put into that, and it's very meaningful.
And so we're looking forward to seeing you winning again. Is that right?
Yes, I'm fishing 2 tournaments on Hartwell this weekend.
I do also know that I was at QT getting gas and talked to a couple guys there with their kayaks and family that came down from North Carolina, up on the coast of North Carolina, came down to Anderson to fish that tournament, and they were talking about how beautiful Anderson was and how much how much they appreciated the hospitality here, and talked about Green Pond and some other things. So it's great to see someone from the Outer Banks talk about the beauty and the things to do here in Anderson County. So that was good. So.